And we're live. That was perfect. Little head tilt. Woo, doo, doo.
Yeah.
Hey, happy Thursday morning, everybody. Keith Pitch here with my co-host Stacy Chevalier. Good morning, Stacy.
Good morning. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. It's that time of the week again. I almost said time of the year, but it's that time of the week again. So we got a great show coming at you today. We've got our Realtor panel here standing by to really break down how huge 2020 was and what to look forward to in 2021. I know there's a lot of folks out there that didn't find their house in 2020. There's a lot of folks that need to make a move in 2021, whether it's selling or buying. And we want to bring some education to it, bring some knowledge to it, and help you guys out and see where that goes. But what do we got to do first, Stacy?
First, we're going to check and see where rates are at.
Where are rates at? This last week has been really, really fun. For the fact that, say again?
I said you could say that, or you could also say it's been really volatile, but we'll go with fun.
It's been volatile, yeah. So this past week, we've seen a substantial, last week, we saw a huge spike in interest rates. And then this week, we're seeing it level back out. And so I've got a lot of folks that have been calling us and saying, hey, we want to refi. Those rates were great. Because the news media at the beginning of last week was talking about stuff that was happening at the end of December when rates really bottomed out, right? There, right after Christmas, things just hit the trough. So then they ratcheted right back up in the better part of, I think, 9 business days. We just jumped straight up, and then we're kind of leveling back out. So I call that the transition of power rate volatility. I totally just coined that phrase, but it's been a very interesting few weeks. I think, in my opinion, just stay the course, get those loans in, and when the time is right, lock the loan and move on. So what say you, Stacy?
Well, everyone knows that follows us. For the last year, I've been saying they're going to keep going down, 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 which was not hard, right? I mean, they went down, a record 14 times in a row. So
16 times in a row.
I do want to just say, and this comes from one of our leaders, if we really could predict the market, we would be in the bond market. We wouldn't be on this show talking about this. So what Keith and I share is purely Stacy Chevalier's head, and Keith's head is not anything more. Nothing more. It's not telling you guys what to do. So that's my disclaimer. But I think in the short term, rates are going to stay kind of up. But I do think eventually we're going to see them drop back down. I don't know yet if we will drop to December levels, but I do think they're going to drop back down. But again, if you're buying in the next month, go ahead and buy. I mean, rates are still so low. I mean, come on, like don't worry about that. So go ahead and refi. Go ahead and go ahead and purchase.
Yeah, don't shed tears between getting 2.5 and 2.75. I mean, that you should consider yourself super grateful, and it's amazing. Because again, I'll say this: literally at the end of 2018, we were selling rates that were almost at 5%,
which is still really good, right? I mean, it's still really good. So so just keep perspective with that. Yeah.
So just kind of pivoting into what we're talking about today, we are looking at all the trends with coronavirus hopefully coming to an end, with vaccines rolling out. Everybody's stating the master builders, the Mortgage Bankers Association, Forbes, and everybody that I'm reading saying rates will trend back up this year. So strike while the iron's hot. Talking also about trends, we're going to bring our real estate panel in. And
we have some new people this time. So.
Yeah, we have some new people. Darcy is not new. We know Darcy Hardy with EXP. We have an amazing duo out of Lake and Company. We have Rachel and Ross with us here today. And then helping us from down south is Aaron Thomas. So welcome, everybody.
Hello.
Mic check. Everybody there. Cool. So, hey, I just want to go around the circle. Darcy, go ahead and introduce yourself, and we'll go from there.
Hi, I'm Darcy Hardy. I am in the King County and Snohomish County area. I'm right up by the line, so I end up covering both. And I've been a realtor for about 7 years. I've worked with Keith for about 6 of those years now.
Time flies.
Mm-hmm.
So, Aaron, how's things down south?
Things are great down south. We're
Awesome.
we're always a couple of years behind you guys.
A couple of years.
We're a little slow down here, but not
Don't
much.
say
You starting
that.
to come out of the downturn from 2009?
Just now.
We love it down there.
So I was
And Ross and
in-
Rachel are joining us from Seattle. Welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
think
I was gonna
Rachel's
say,
got more
Aaron.
time.
Aaron, aren't all Seattle residents moving down south?
there's a lot. It used to be mostly Pierce, and then it became Thurston, and now we're seeing money flow into Mason. We're seeing money flow into Lewis counties. It's just COVID is just making people spread out.
Right, going out.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good trend to talk about. Is that going to be a standing trend in 2021? Are we going to continue to move out?
I personally feel a lot of people's jobs have changed for the long haul, and so I think their living arrangements will conform and change with that as well. I think you'll see a little bit of a slowdown to it as people start to get more comfortable coming out of COVID with, increased vaccination. But I think it's here to stay. I think people are going to live where they want to live if their work affords them that opportunity, and it didn't previously.
And I think it's not just the work affording them that ability these days, but it's also having the kids at home so much from school has really opened a lot of people's eyes to the possibilities of homeschooling and how it's not what it used to be. So there's so many programs now for kids at home that you can actually do your entire school day in just 2 or 3 hours, and it gives you the ability to live further away, live away from great school systems, or travel. So we're seeing a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's another good pivot because we took our kids out of the local school system here in Issaquah and put them in the Washington Online Academy, and now we're really untethered to a school district or what have you in that respect. So we've done a lot of traveling this year. Quite frankly, we hitched up the trailer and just went. So there's definitely that element to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Like my prediction was that the city centers would see people moving as a saying, but I'm not seeing like price points changing. So Rachel and Ross, what are you seeing in Seattle? Because I really thought prices would go down in the city centers, and I'm seeing the opposite actually, that they're continuing to go up even as people move out.
I would say that at the beginning of this, we saw, and I think condos are still so depressed, and townhouses near South Lake Union are not selling like they were. They didn't appreciate this year. We're finding that single family homes in the greater Seattle area are still appreciating, and I guess we're doing more business on the east side because people are just wanting a little more space. So in terms of Rachel's coming in with me here.
That's awesome. No one knew you were in the same
Okay,
room.
hold
in the
on.
same room.
I couldn't do anything, so we're just gonna do this.
I thought I heard you say that I think I can't hear anything. So this works perfectly. That's just fine.
The sound effect, but yeah.
Well, and Ross, what element of condos are people like? I also want not only just space for my family, but space away from other people. No, that's not it.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, that's it.
So the condos that are doing well right now are the condos that have private backyards,
Mm-hmm.
that have low HOAs, that have, there are some townhouses out there that have no HOAs, and those are really going faster. But people are nervous about HOAs these days because you're dependent upon your community and people are losing their jobs.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's a good point. Are there any new condos in downtown that are still going up, that are moving forward? Which ones?
Oh, we've got, I think there are 3 high rises,
Okay.
and that are still being built. And I think they're still slated to come on as condos, not apartments, but that may change.
Gotcha. So what have we seen in 2020 that's going to carry into 2021 as far as trends with selling? Sellers that want to get out in the market, take advantage of, and either relocate out or buy a new house. What hurdles? What can they expect?
The masses, I would say, is the biggest thing. What we're seeing right now are multiple offers, and not just saying like 5 offers. I mean, seeing listings that have 20 offers that are going pending to a crazy amount. So we always say, like, coming out of December, they're coming out of hibernation. And for a lot of our buyers, it's like just preparing them. It's going to get crazy. And I think there are a lot of buyers who are so sick and tired of going through the summer and then waiting, and now coming on and just saying, I don't care. We're going to put that extra 20, 30,000 into something just because we need to find a home. We need to get into a different place. So, just that is kind of, it's been crazy right now. So that I see carrying on from 2020. Now we're kind of back into it again.
Wow.
Yeah,
Is it starting early?
No, I always say last year when we have listings, sometimes getting homes on in mid-January is something that we try to do. Yeah, I would say it's crazy right now. I mean, even trying to get into listings to see homes, to make appointments. Ross is a great one for that right now. Is he just sits outside the home to try to get in when yeah, I guess you can. Yeah.
When one party leaves and before the next party's there, I'll try to sneak our clients in however we can, because right now, last night we were making appointments for Saturday and Sunday, and most of the appointment slots were taken. And I don't know about the audience.
Wow.
Pre-COVID, we used to be able to go in multiple brokers in a house, multiple buyers in a house at one time. Now we have time slots in 15-minute increments. And so it just adds another level of complexity to show the listing. And some people are blocking out as much time as they can. So it's making it difficult for buyers to actually see the listings before.
Wow.
It's difficult for buyers to come and see them before making an offer.
To get to the question of things that are going to be changing, do you guys think we will always have appointments? You know how like grocery stores have directional ways to walk now that I think will always be there? Do you think it will always be like
I think it's going to depend on the listing broker and what their preference is.
Yeah.
Or the owners if it's occupied. So I was kind of giggling to myself when Keith asked, is it starting early? I was telling somebody the other day that spring started 10 months ago and hasn't let up.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what it is. Like this time of year, we're usually just ramping up to go. And we have not stopped. I mean, I haven't had a day off in months, right? It's just nonstop. But people have this perception that, oh, you guys are selling so much out there. It's an amazing market. Well, no, we're writing a lot of offers, but we're going up against 30 other people with these offers. I had 2 offers in the last week that I went up against 30 other offers. Only one can win each one of those.
Right.
That means on each one, there's 29 people that wrote offers that didn't win, and 29 buyers that were very disappointed on each one. So it's a hard market. It's a lot of work.
We always tell our clients, you don't want to win at all costs. Even in this market, they buy a home. You don't want to, pay 3 years out prices. Sometimes clients have to pay next year's appreciation in order to get into a home now. But we're finding that, if it appreciates 20% for the next 3 years, that's what they're paying. And I don't think that we're going to have that kind of appreciation. It's not sustainable.
How are things down south, Aaron? Are you seeing 30 offers per house, or what's Thurston like?
I think you guys might agree with this, but it depends on you got more buyers as you move down in price point. So we agree more people qualify for 400 than 600, right? So what you end up seeing is, and the MLS, Northwest MLS actually used this term, insatiable buyer demand. So that changed is, half of the people in our market that would have listed their houses last year chose not to. Rates went down. You have all these buyers that now want to buy because rates are low, and also because now they need to work from home, or now they have some kind of new thing going on in their lives that's causing them to say, hey, this house doesn't work for me anymore. And so they're moving, and they're trying to do this local moving, and they're fighting to get into the properties. And we need more inventory is the bottom line. We've been talking about this for months. Right? I truly believe a lot of people would have packed things up during the holiday. They were forced to continue to look, and they were at home. Not a lot of people traveled and everything as much as normal. So they kept looking. Insatiable buyer demand. The inventory will go back up. It always does in the spring. There will be buyers there to buy those homes too. I think what you're looking at right now is maybe because of the holiday, because of the lack of daylight to where, Ross, you can't get as many people into the home because you can't show it at 7 p.m. or people just choose not to. You're probably seeing what I feel like is probably the lowest point of inventory in the Pacific Northwest that we'll ever see. I really believe that.
Brian sent me an article from Housing Wire. I don't know if it came out today, but it's saying some part of the housing short, what we all know, is people are just staying in their houses. And it's saying in the typical homeowner in 2020 remained in their house for over 13 years. And just back in 2010, it was 8 years. So that's a swing in a short amount of time. I mean, the average used to be 7 years, right? Like we all in the mortgage business pulled a 7-year arm because no one stayed in their home more than 5 years. And now, so that's pretty crazy. And it shows this line that it's going to keep going up over time. And with interest rates, if you got a 2.5% rate or 2.25%, rates go to 6%. I don't. Those people aren't going to.
People are harder to please these days.
Yeah.
Well, I have clients that really, 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 really wanted to move, right? They recognize that there's no way they're going to be able to buy contingent. There's just no way. But they can't afford to do otherwise. So I have 2 clients that have sold their places and have been crashing on family members' couches trying to find another place to live in, and they're losing offers left and right because people are desperate. They're going crazy. I had a house just last week. It went for 25% above asking with everything waived. Absolutely everything.
Let's talk about that because that just frightens me when I see those offers come over. But what are you guys? Are you guys everywhere? Thurston County, Seattle, like everything being waived?
Yeah, I mean, we work in most of Seattle East Side, and I do some down in Tacoma and Gig Harbor, and I would say even down there, I had a listing down there recently, and it was waived everything. Another thing is non-refundable earnest money, which some people do, some people don't, and I think it just depends on the comfort of the client. It's a scary thing, of course, but sometimes it's needed. And that's sometimes even when you're going up against multiple offers, you've got a listing broker saying, hey, are you willing to release earnest money? Because I have 5 other people saying they're going to do that. And that's whether you get the house or not. Sometimes you have to.
The biggest thing right now is guaranteeing in the event of a low appraisal. Because prices are rising so quickly that the appraiser's numbers from last month and the month before are not going to help you hit your number for the appraisal. And that's
the value's not rising, right?
Well, the value is rising. The value is definitely rising, but appraisers have to use what
month over month, right? So there's and appraisers have rules you have to follow. You can't match that swing just because somebody's going to pay it. Yeah.
There's a lag time.
Yeah.
It's so refreshing to hear real estate agents say that from the mortgage guy's side when I have to deliver that bad news. Oh, guess what? Your appraisal's not there. So there's those great professionals out there like yourselves on this video today that know what goes into that recipe. So how are you guys protecting against the low appraisal on both sides, buyer side and lenders? Oh, listing.
I say listing side, making sure you're working with a lender who's a local lender who knows the stats, who knows the market, who's not somebody who's just, I'm not going to name any names, but just who's not involved.
Yeah, like a loan depot.
Yeah. What about the buyer side? How are you educating your buyers on this?
How are we doing this? We're telling them that, and we go in very aggressively typically, where our earnest monies, if we're waiving a financing addendum, our earnest monies can be 10% of the or half of what their down payment is. $100,000, $150,000 earnest money is not that uncommon anymore. And releasing that early, so that's where we just have to make sure that there is a risk to the buyer when we're releasing earnest monies like that. So we have to work with our lender to make sure that they can close on time. And of course, our buyers know that there's a chance that the appraised value is not going to meet the purchase price, and do they have the funds to make that up? And if they do have to make that up, what is their interest rate because their down payment is less?
Yep.
Yes, I love that. You know a lot, Ross. Your rate, you get that a lot, right, Keith?
Yes.
You can even have a higher rate if you put more money down, which just makes people's minds blown. But
blows your mind.
Yeah.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
It's a big thing for me to make sure that I walk every single client through the contract and explain each paragraph, even if it's quickly. I want to make sure they understand exactly what they're signing, because unfortunately in this market, they're having to sign away a lot of their rights. So making sure that they understand exactly what they're signing and what the ramifications can be of that is essential. But making sure they understand the benefits of it too, and that there are interesting ways to get around things. I know Keith and I had one that appraised low. It was a few months ago. It wasn't super close to now, but it appraised $35,000 low, which is a lot of money. And my people had the cash, but they didn't want to have to put that. That was going to affect a lot of things for them. So we came up with another game plan. We got the sellers to reduce the price a little bit, but in reducing the price, they were able to cover the PMI up front for having less than 20% down. There's some things like that you can do that really you need an educated agent and an educated lender in order to make it work best for everybody. My clients ended up in a lot better position, and the sellers still walked away with a really good chunk of money, and they didn't have to get hit by that $35,000.
You make a good point, Darcy. I don't want to totally get into this, but if you are a buyer out there on an FHA loan and you get a low appraisal, talk to your lender. There is a way to change that contract where, in fact, we don't have to actually have you come in with any difference of down payment. It's a lending thing, but it's possible in FHA. So if you have a low appraisal in FHA, call your lender. If they don't know, call.
There you go.
Love it. So speaking of FHA, and not necessarily just FHA, but speaking of the new loan limits, we kicked up the high balance loan limit up to $776,250 for the Tri-County area, Pierce, King, and Snohomish. I mean, that added an extra $50,000 of lendability. To me, I laugh every time I see it, because to me, I think it just is fueling the fire, because now we're expanding the top side for conventional lending. But how is that going to impact listings? How is that going to impact buyers?
It has a huge impact, both on both sides, really. For sellers, it has a big impact because it makes more people available to go up. So something that a lot of people don't know right now is that the difference between a high balance rate and a jumbo rate are significant, right? And having that high balance rate go up makes it that much easier for people to keep in that lower rate level and be able to compete at that dollar rate. So with that, it's going to make a lot larger pool of people able to buy for sellers. Does that make sense?
Now, Aaron, you didn't get the high balance loan limit, but you did get the conforming loan limit to come up. How is that going to impact you guys down south?
I think anytime people can borrow more money, it helps prices. I mean, just simple, straight up economics. I mean, when you see price points that are higher and then you have to go to jumbo to get to them, it's just not going to. I mean, it's harder for the seller to command that kind of money. And then, of course, as you move outward from, the Seattle area, those higher dollar purchases just aren't as common. So,
Aaron, what's your days on market right now?
What's our what?
What's your days on market right now?
Oh, geez. So if the house is priced accordingly, we're seeing most agents do a review period. So it's 5 days. What you'll statistically see, for average DOM, days on market is always going to be a little bit higher because there's those properties that just stick. So we're sitting at like 5, trending down from 8.76 on the median price, as far as days price, and then that mirrors the average days on market. So the reality is, if it's priced good, you're going to get an offer in the first day. You're probably going to get 2 or 3 in the second day. And then you're going to have a whole bunch of agents waiting until right before your review date checking in with you to see what it looked like. And then you're going to end up with half of the rest of the offers the day they're due. So.
Yeah, and let's talk about review date for a second. So it's very typical in the Seattle area for us to have review dates when there is a substantial amount of buyers on the market. What we've been seeing this time, like we've never seen before, is a review date and then things going pending before the review date, because people are putting crazy offers in before the review date, and they're just offers that the seller can't walk away from.
Yeah, Darcy, the other thing that's happened too, if you're tracking amount of showings to pending, it's going up. So people are getting tired of having other people in their house. As weird as that sounds, but when you get an offer in the first day that you're sitting on that's amazing, you no longer are tempted to sit there and just shuttle more people through the property. And so they're getting tired and they're saying, okay, let's just accept this. Especially if they have kids and families and stuff.
Is that a COVID fear, or is that just, wow, we've got an amazing offer?
I think in the beginning of the whole COVID thing, it was, as a buyer's broker, that would be a thing where I would go in and say, let's just offer early because they're still here, or they don't want people going through their house. And it happens. You get offers that way just because of the COVID fear. I think that was a big part of it.
Yeah. Between March and now, we made early offers on 5 listings, and we only made early offers on the listings that were occupied. But we had to go. There's for our buyers, there's a sense that there's a leap of faith that they're going to their cap already, not knowing if anybody's going to be close to them, where we get that escalation addendum, where we see the next offer. So that, but that's where they're relying on their broker to say, is this, what will this appraise at? And is this still a fair deal? I think it's a real disservice when listing brokers take early offers, especially when it's a vacant home. We always say to our clients that we're selling their home, stay the course, stick to the plan. Mm-hmm. Chances are that person who puts in the early offer on day 1 will be there on day 6, along with 13 other offers.
Yeah, we had one in the South End that I just sold that. Literally what you're describing, Ross, we could have helped them accept an offer that was $20,000 first day. We worked the phones. That number ends up going higher. So that $715,000 home on Sunday is sitting at about $760,000. Well, on Monday, when we start talking to the agents and we start saying, okay, here's a little feedback, who wants to win type of thing, and when that grows from 760 to 815, you want to tell me it's not a smart idea to wait. If making money is your goal, then yeah, let your listing agent work their magic on that, is my opinion. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. I don't know. I got a question for you guys. Sorry, I'm taking over, Keith.
Go for it. No, do it.
I'm really curious about this because I feel this way. A couple of things. First of all, we listed a lot of properties. So we sold over 100 houses last year. Our team did. And we listed a lot of properties, like half of them were listings. You know, I only had maybe 4 or 5 sellers that actually cared about COVID people coming in their house. They just didn't. It was like normal. It was like it didn't exist. It was really weird. So when COVID hit, we built this kit of stuff to leave outside, to signage. We did all this safety stuff, and like no one really cared that much. It was really surprising to me. So I got a question. My question is this, because this is what I believe may happen. I think we've lived with this thing for 9 months to a year now. I think people are, I don't want to say they're over it, but I want to say that when it first hit, I was really cognizant of what I touched and washing my hands and making sure I don't touch my face. I don't pick my nose, all that stuff, right? That started to
Now he picks his nose all the time.
Yeah, like I'm not saying I don't care. I do care tremendously. I think that people are used to living with it, and I think they'll go back to making their decisions, even if there's variants of COVID that are now surfacing. I think people are going to come out of the woodwork. They're going to list their properties that didn't last year. It's going to help to balance our market a little bit, but our market's still going to be crazy. And that's what's going to fuel the prices continuing to go up, is these people are going to list, these people are going to buy. There's still going to be competition. It's not going to be as frenzied, but it'll keep pushing prices up. And that's why most of the economists think that, you know, we're in that 5 to 15% range for continued appreciation. So if somebody's looking to buy, to Ross's point, as long as they do not have to forfeit their next 2-3 years worth of equity to get in the property, unless it's their goal that they have to have a house now to live in, for, you know, whatever reason. I'm for the first time seeing people sell, rent, see what happens, and then buy, which is kind of crazy too. But they're waiting for the right opportunity. And we always say, you time the market, you lose. You try to time the market, you lose, right?
So true.
It's a good time to sell.
It's a really good time to sell. I would say that I agree with you that the concern isn't there like it was at the beginning. People are not as concerned unless there's a reason for them to be concerned.
Sure.
For example, they have a newborn baby,
Yeah.
or is somebody who is older living in the house. I actually won one. This was really cool for my people because they were some of the people that were living on couches, family members' couches, trying to find a place to buy. And we were the 5th highest offer. We came in 5th place as far as dollar amount. However, I got really friendly with the other agent, and I found out that the family, their son was in the hospital. So every time we went there, like when we did a pre-inspection, I made sure to note like, hey, we wiped everything down. We did the pre-inspection, so you don't ever have to worry us coming back in the house once we're in contract. I bought a warranty for the people and was able to extend it to during the listing period. So if anything went wrong, they didn't have to worry about it. Things like that, we won. And we were the 5th. We were 25,000 lower than the highest. It's rare, but you really have to have an agent who is finding out the pain points.
Mm-hmm.
And COVID is a pain point for people right now.
For sure. Yeah. It's amazing when you can win over things that aren't price and things that aren't just straight terms. It is amazing. This is why people write, you know, letters to the seller and things like that. You just, you know, you gotta, Darcy's completely right. You gotta get an agent that's gonna get in there, roll up their sleeves, and find some stuff out. I mean, we'll get offers on listings. You guys get offers on listings. There'll be times when you don't even hear from the agent. Just offer appears in your inbox. And you're like, how did you know even how to, you know, what to do, what to write? It's just so strange. Communication is everything. It's everything in a relationship. It's everything, you know, in a house sale.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a relationship, Aaron. I mean, that's a 30-day relationship. You better be good at it. So
No, it's a 30-day relationship for you. For us, it tends to be like a 6-month relationship.
fair enough. Fair enough. Well, I just we are past our half an hour, so I just want to go around really quick and just what's one key nugget, a knowledge nugget that your buyers or sellers can take into 2021. Darcy, why don't you start us off?
I say buyers, don't wait. Don't wait. Sellers, don't wait. So funny. Sellers, you want to get in before that bunch of properties are going to come on in the spring. There's always a time that more properties are coming on in the spring. If you're able to beat that, you're good.
Ross, Rachel?
Don't get greedy.
Oh, we're finding for team prep. Yeah, anything that goes on will sell. We're finding is achieving the premium for sales price. The ones that are totally move-in ready. So almost all homes that we're putting on, we're redoing hardwoods, we're redoing countertops, we're painting, we're putting so much into the prep prior to putting it on, and that's where I think that we're most that buyers willing to pay for our sellers. And then on the flip side, it's hard. We do have to go in with the fewest amount of contingencies, and you have to have a broker that you can trust, that you have that rapport with, that will carry you all the way through the finish line, as well as the lender. Because once we reach mutual acceptance, it's Loan Depot's show. You guys are the ones who really have to perform, and we're trying to orchestrate it.
Yeah,
You make it really good.
and I would say
on like all the prep work you guys do. So we'll make a note. We'll talk about that on our next quarterly review. I want to hear more about that. So sorry, Rach, go ahead.
And I would say, buyers always ask, or sometimes sellers they say, oh, this is a stupid question. It's like, there are never stupid questions. There are stupid answers, right? So those out there, like, the market's always changing. We've got different stuff. Rates are changing. There's different, even with COVID, rules are changing. So educate yourself. Don't hesitate to ask questions. And, like Darcy said, educating yourself on the purchase and sale agreement. Knowing what's in that, because once you make an offer, it goes fast and it happens, and you find a good agent who is going to educate you and guide you with that. So yeah, that would be my advice.
Aaron, what say you?
I say if you're a potential shopper, do your homework. Pick a great relationship, somebody like on this panel that actually knows what's going on. There's a ton of real estate agents out there, and not all of them know this stuff, and not all of them are the same. And quite frankly, a lot of them work part-time and have other jobs. And this is not the market to use, the hairdresser or the friend or something that's trying to get into real estate. It just really isn't. I mean, you're hearing a ton of examples here on the panel and they'll get there. There's just gonna be things that they don't know. And I'm not saying I'm perfect or any of us are perfect, but we're definitely gonna give you a good shot at being able to get into a property. Don't let the market bully you. Know the value of what you're buying, because I'll see listings that are drastically underpriced, even in a market like this. That affords you the opportunity to have a just smoking offer, because really your smoking offer, it's all optics. The house is actually worth more than what they're asking. And on the flip side of that, a lot of the times they're overpriced. So do you want to go in and compete and overpay over asking on a price that's already overpriced? That doesn't make sense. That's backbreaking if something happens to you in the future. So those are my words. But yeah, don't get in there and don't wait until you find the perfect house to contact the agent to get all this stuff done. Because the reality is that some are going off market in like 12 hours. So, and don't use Zillow to find your house. Get a realtor that will take you to the MLS.
Yeah,
Okay.
and don't wait, to Aaron's point, don't wait until you find that house that you love to call me and get pre-approved, because that's
Well,
going to take a minute.
Yeah, you may, like you guys can perform miracles, right? Not everybody can. By the time you mobilize and you're ready to buy that one that just came up that you think is the dream home, it's gone. So get with the agent. You know, we do practice offers even. Like we'll say, okay, let's pretend that house you just saw. We're going to actually write an offer, send it, and we're going to sign it. We're going to go through it. That way we get all the little kinks worked out. All your questions are resolved. And the next one, we're like, boom, guns blazing.
I love that.
So, and I would say for my piece, like find the local agent that you can trust and have that relationship with. And it's why we purposed the panel with you guys covering a lot of span of the Peters Town, not all of it, but everyone kind of is focused in a large area, but specific area at the same time. And then with lender, I think Rachel's one that sent it, or maybe Darcy, find a local lender. It absolutely doesn't need to be Loan Depot. There's a lot of good lenders out there, but do recommend you at least find someone local that if you need to meet at a local whatever, you can actually see their face.
Yeah, it's important.
Amen. Well, thank you all for joining us today.
Hey, guys, there's a question in the chat.
You got a question in the chat?
Yeah, you might want to address that real quick.
There it is. Stacy, going back on the buyers that do not have to bring in more if the appraisal comes in low on FHA.
There is a specific way we can manage that on FHA. Other things, non-FHA is kind of like what Darcy mentioned. There's different things we can do, but yeah, reach out to us. We can probably DM you and give you a little bit additional information. Keith and I can do another show on that. Another topic.
Yeah, we could. That's a big topic.
But it's a little complicated, but it's easy. We could do it on any one. So if it's not something maybe a lot of people know about. So
I'll get the spreadsheet ready. So
all right.
that'll be on a different show. But thank you all. Have a great afternoon, and appreciate you being here. And look forward to seeing you at the end of Q1.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Bye-bye.
Well, that was exciting. Get ready for more of the crazy going into 2021. So
I just can't believe it. But yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be a different year, but a really great year. And I'm excited for the real estate market.
amen. I'm right there with you. Well, thank you all for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week at 10 a.m. here on Real Estate Now.